the night she was found. They called her the girl from the rainstorm. No one knew her name. No one knew where she came from. But that night, when thunder cracked and the sky wept over Omola Kingdom, a crying baby was found at the palace gate, wrapped in a torn royal cloth. Who left her there? Why? And how could a child with no family become the queen that would one day change everything? Before we begin, welcome back to African Folktales by Irene, where ancient stories come alive and mysteries unfold. If you love powerful tales filled with emotion, suspense, and lessons that touch the soul, make sure you subscribe and turn on your notification bell. You don't want to miss what happens next. The storm that night was merciless. The guards struggled to shut the heavy palace gates when one of them heard a faint cry. He followed the sound through the wind and rain. There, by the statue of the first queen, lay a baby. The child's blanket was marked with the royal emblem. Her eyes, clear and bright as moonlight, stared at him without fear. The guard's hands trembled. Everyone knew what that emblem meant. Could this be the lost child of the gods? At sunrise, the baby was brought before the king. The old ruler stared at her quietly, as if time had stopped. Then, with a sigh that carried years of pain, he said, "She will live. But not as royalty. Let her grow among the servants. If destiny wants her, destiny will find her." And so, the orphan became a palace maid. Yet even as a child, she carried herself with strange grace, calm, observant, and fearless. As if the rain that brought her into the world had also blessed her with something greater. A mysterious baby is found during a storm, wrapped in royal cloth. The king hides her true identity and raises her as a servant. But fate is watching, waiting to reveal her true destiny. Years passed, and the little girl from the rainstorm, now named Adaeze, grew into a bright, curious young woman. Though she swept floors and fetched water for others, she listened closely to every royal conversation. She memorized stories of queens, wars, and peace as she walked. Her favorite spot was near the palace garden, where the royal son, Prince Obinna, often came to read. He was kind-hearted but lonely, always kept apart by royal protocol. Adaeze was forbidden to speak to him, but fate had its own plan. One afternoon, as Adaeze watered the flowers, the prince dropped a scroll by accident. She picked it up quickly and handed it to him with her eyes down. "Thank you," he said softly. His voice carried warmth that surprised her. From that day, they began to exchange secret glances, then quiet conversations under the old tree when no one was watching. He taught her how to read. She told him stories from the servants' quarters, tales of laughter, pain, and hope. Their bond grew stronger each day, though both knew the danger. If the king or the queen mother ever found out, punishment would be severe. But secrets do not stay buried forever. One afternoon, the queen mother saw the prince smiling toward the garden and noticed Adaeze nearby. Her eyes narrowed like a hawk's. Later that night, she summoned her maid and whispered, "Watch that girl. Something about her doesn't belong in this palace." From that moment, Adaeze's quiet life began to change. Servants whispered behind her back. Food was taken from her share. Yet, even as her world turned cold, she refused to stop meeting Obinna. Their friendship had become her only light in the darkness. Adaeze secretly befriends Prince Obinna. Their bond grows, but palace eyes begin to watch. Jealousy and suspicion take root, foreshadowing the storm that's coming. Adaeze's secret friendship with the prince had become the heartbeat of her days. But the palace walls have ears, and whispers travel faster than the wind. The queen mother, proud and sharp-eyed, called the palace priest to her chamber. "She is no ordinary girl," she hissed. "I feel something dangerous around her. Find out who she truly is." The priest nodded, lighting incense as strange symbols filled the air. As he chanted, his eyes widened in fear. "My queen, this girl carries royal blood. The spirits say she was born of thunder and crown." The queen mother froze. Royal blood. Then she threatens my son's throne. That night, she stood before the statue of the gods and whispered a curse. If she dares to rise, may storms follow her. If she dares to love the prince, may her heart break before the dawn. In her small room, Adaeze woke up trembling. The air was cold, heavy, strange. She couldn't explain why her chest ached like something unseen had entered her heart. From that day, misfortune followed her. Pots broke in her hands. Tasks she once did easily now turned to chaos. When Prince Obinna saw her pain, he refused to turn away. If they want to keep us apart, he said, then let me go to my father. I will tell him everything. But Adaeze begged him not to. You don't understand, Obinna. The palace hates what it fears, and I am what they fear most. As she spoke, lightning flashed again, like the night she was found. The same night that hid her true identity. The curse had begun, but destiny was not done with her yet. The Queen Mother discovers Adaeze's hidden royal blood and casts a deadly curse. Misfortune begins to follow Adaeze, but her bond with the prince only grows stronger, setting the stage for rebellion and revelation. Days turned into weeks, and Adaeze's life grew heavier. The Queen Mother's curse followed her everywhere, whispers in the kitchen, eyes that burned with hate, dreams filled with storms. Still, she worked in silence, holding her pain inside like a secret flame. One afternoon, while scrubbing the palace floor, lightning struck the old royal tree in the courtyard. The thunder that followed was louder than anything anyone had ever heard. It cracked open part of the earth near the statue of the first queen, revealing an ancient chest wrapped in royal cloth. The guards rushed out. The king himself came to see the commotion. When the chest was opened, a hush fell across the courtyard. Inside lay a letter sealed with the royal crest, and a locket shaped like a crown. The king lifted the letter with trembling hands. The writing was faint but clear. To the child of thunder, born of my blood, hidden to protect the throne. When the storm returns, your truth shall rise. His heart stopped. It was the handwriting of his late daughter, the one who had vanished years ago during a raid. He turned slowly toward Adaeze, who stood frozen, her eyes wide with fear. The same cloth that wrapped her as a baby was found in the chest. The palace fell silent. Everyone realized what the king already knew: this girl, this servant, was the last heir to the throne. The Queen Mother stumbled back, her voice trembling. Impossible. She cannot be the one. The king raised his hand. The gods have spoken through the storm. The truth cannot be hidden forever. That night, as rain began to fall again, Adaeze sat alone in her room, clutching the locket. Her whole life had changed in a single moment. She wasn't just a servant anymore, she was the lost princess of Umola. But deep inside, she knew this truth would not bring peace. It would bring war. A powerful storm reveals the secret of Adaeze's birth. The king discovers she is his lost granddaughter, the true heir to the throne. But the Queen Mother's fury grows, and darkness gathers for the final battle. Thunder rumbles across the horizon. The palace torches flicker in the wind. Word spread like wildfire: the servant girl was the true heir to the throne. Some rejoiced, others whispered in anger. The Queen Mother refused to accept it. I will never let her sit on the throne my son was born to inherit, she cried, her eyes filled with rage. The king, weary and torn, called for peace. But the Queen Mother's heart had already turned to stone. That night, as lightning danced across the sky, she entered the shrine to the gods and begged them to undo the prophecy. The air turned dark, and a voice answered from the shadows: the storm cannot be stopped. It can only be survived. The following morning, a strange wind swept through the kingdom. Trees bent, animals ran for cover, and the sky turned the color of ash. The people gathered in fear as thunder rolled louder and louder. Then, through the heavy rain, Adaeze stepped out in a white robe, holding the royal locket to her chest. The storm brought me into this world, she said, her voice echoing. If it must come again, then let it wash away every lie. Lightning struck the palace tower, and a bright light covered the courtyard. When it cleared, the Queen Mother had fallen to her knees, her curse broken by the very power she unleashed. The Queen Mother had fallen to her knees, her curse broken by the very power she unleashed. The king, moved to tears, crowned Adaeze before the people. Days later, the kingdom of Umuola stood reborn. The rain had washed the land clean, and the people sang of the Queen of the Storm, the orphan who rose from the servants' quarters to unite a divided kingdom. As Queen Adaeze stood on the balcony, the prince, now her royal advisor, bowed before her and smiled. "The gods never cursed you," he said. "They crowned you the day you were born." Adaeze looked toward the sky as the wind brushed her face. Somewhere deep in the clouds, thunder rolled softly, like a promise kept. The Queen Mother's jealousy brings destruction, but Adaeze's courage restores peace. Her true identity revealed, she rises as the rightful Queen of Umuola, proving that destiny can hide in the humblest places. And that's how Adaeze, the orphan everyone ignored, became the queen who brought peace to her land. Sometimes, the ones we overlook carry the crown destiny has hidden for them. Thank you for watching another powerful tale from African Folktales by Irene. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss the next magical story. Until next time, remember, every heart has a story waiting to be told.